Hey YouTube, so this is another, I'll probably have left a couple of days so you didn't get bored of the Casio MIDI guitar. This is the Casio mg510, which I've just done a video for because it's a full-on electric Stratocaster guitar. If you ignore the Knight Rider shit on it, I'm not going to ignore the Knight Rider shit now, I'm actually going to play it. Should probably make sure it's in tune actually before we go any further. Oh, rookie mistake, it's actually got a tuner in it, so I don't need to do that. It's actually got a tuner in it, but the problem with the tuner where it is you've kind of within. You got to look down, it's not angled. Ideally that would be here so you could see it. So I'm running it through this wee MIDI bank thing, which I got, I think they're about 30 quid or something like that for playing MIDI files. I don't think anyone does play MIDI files anymore, but that's what this is. So it's basically a cheap general MIDI bank, and I've got the MIDI lead coming out here going into this. This has got like a, instead of having a 5-pin thing, you needed to be adapter. It goes into a sort of headphone socket, and then that's the headphone socket there going into the bass amp. So this is it on piano, and as I said earlier on, the piano thing is, it kind of sounds a bit like a piano in single notes, but when you hit a chord you're strumming it, so you really want to be ideally you could strum all the pick all the strings at the same time. It's there, but I mean if you just play it like a guitar, you need to be a little bit more accurate with it though. So what we have on the guitar is this switch here, 3 switches, basically they're all 3 position. This one does guitar, turn the amp on, I've got distortion on, don't want that. So up the way, okay, down the way just the guitar, up the way just the keyboard, and in the middle both. It says in the manual for this, because I downloaded it and looked at it, obviously there's a slight latency when you play a note. You can hear the keyboard, the piano slightly after. So if you use the guitar to just give the attack, because the guitar's instantaneous. The middle switch is an octave thing, so this is it in middle octave. High octave. I keep missing notes. This is the lower octave. And the third one is a control thing. So in the middle it's chromatic. So if you try and bend a note, it goes da 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 da. If you put it to chromatic, it bends it. It's a wee bit slower that way though. And the third option on this is a sound choice. So this works really well. I've got a Casio CZ, which I would bring out, but my keyboard stand I lent it to somebody. Alan, give me my keyboard stand back, you bastard, for a gig. The keyboard, the Casio CZ is this size, so there's nowhere to put it. I'm thinking I've got a DX21 as well from my synthesizer leftover stuff, so I might be able to, there might be enough room for it to sit either on top of the bass amp, or it means it'll run like a proper synthesizer rather than just a. The sounds in this are not fantastic, they're alright. I mean, it's noticeably a piano, you know. It's a piano. So if you put it into the control mode, what you do is each, on the first 4 strings, the E, A, D and G, between the 0 and the 12th fret, each one of them's a different patch. So as a total guess, I'll put it on and I'll try a G. So I've just chosen another sound. I don't know what it is yet. It is that, right? So if there were really were sounds, if you just remembered where the sounds were you wanted. Again. That might be quite good with the chromatic. Not a great MIDI sound. I used to have, if you look back, I used to have a massive Korg, I called it. It was an IS-50, and it had like saxophone and stuff on it, and it sounded phenomenal. The thing was this size, though, so no room for it in here, but with the saxophone, it was great playing it with the guitar. So because that was I said that was the G, wasn't it? So 1 up, that'll be something similar but different. Sounds the same. Obviously these things, when you've got the guitar on at the same time, and there's a volume control for the MIDI. That's got a wee bit of an envelope on it going whap, isn't it? Whap, whap. Try to see what's the A going to sound like. I don't know, even know what that is. You're going to call it Clavinova or something? So, getting fed up doing this already. I'm trying this. Well, what does C give you? Some sort of blat noise. See what D does. Just like this, me just choosing random patches. It's a. So up the way. See, what I would find is what the guy who had this before me used it for was doing backing tracks. It's like a one-man band solo performer thing, and he couldn't play the keyboards. So with this, maybe not so useful for playing riffs. That's probably easier on a keyboard, but how do you play like an F sharp on a keyboard? Like, oh, that's a difficult one with black keys. There you go. Easy. I can play A minor. C and G on a keyboard quite easy because they're quite easy, but the hard chords are like an A7. Because I can play it on the guitar, I can. And again, octaves of it. What about you? Things never the same. Na, 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 na. I don't know what the next chord is. want it to be E minor for some reason. You get the idea, and a lower one as well. Random, what's that? See what that is. Could be that's another sound. Basses. So you can play bass on it, I suppose, as well. Maybe. Wouldn't have said that was a bass actually. MIDI sounds are really crap, aren't they? Just in general. Or general MIDI sounds. See, this is one of the ones, the strings kind of work quite well with a guitar because you can sort of... together. I'll be at this for 10 minutes. So maybe try. Can't remember where I chose that patch from. Random, that one. Okay, bad sound. Bendy. What sound we're going to have? We don't know. Trumpet. Low trumpet. High trumpet. Middle bass. Haven't yet found the bass, because there will be basses. Where have we not been yet? We've not been on the 4th string yet. So is that going to be a bass? I'd be tempted to say that's guitar. Sounds like a guitar. I'm thinking basses are probably close to that. That's a bass in it. I think my problem is here, I'm playing this through a bass amp, which isn't really designed for letting the high notes through, so the high notes are sounding a bit shitty, whereas low bassy are not too bad. The last one must be a good sounding. Not really. Okay, it's not up to the 12th fret. It must be higher than that because I played the 14th there. So it must be the 12th. Maybe the 14th is the same as the 2nd. I'm sure that's piano. The piano. About ready to give up. it's dead difficult to actually do anything constructive with it. But great fun to just faff about, has to be said. I'm going to have to start recording again, because this is the sort of thing I can totally imagine, oh, wouldn't it be great having strings in the back and actually have a purpose for doing the fannying about with tons of sound, because it's like one of those things you could switch overload. See, what I would say is, like I said earlier on in the previous video, there is the PG one, the more expensive one, with basically the same but with a Floyd Rose. It's got a built-in synthesizer with like 8 sounds on it. That's 8. So you get 8 things to fanny about with. Whereas this, it's a general MIDI bank. What's it, 127 or something sounds? None of which are fantastic versions of these sounds. You know, the thing with MIDI is, general MIDI just assigns the same number. So say you've got your MIDI file, right, which has got all your backing track on it, but it's just in... It's kind of outdated now, because the whole point of MIDI is it's just like, you know, it's digital information, but you could save it on a floppy disk, for example, and have hours of music on it. Whereas now you've got gig, you know, because it's only like, it's 720k you can fit on a floppy disk. So you could, you know, you could have like a orchestra part done in MIDI, running on like one disc. Whereas actually to have the audio files would be, you know, like gigabytes, whereas now you can just get gigabytes, so you can just use the actual sound. So all it does is the MIDI signal tells whatever synth you plug it into that universally number 1 is grand piano, for example, probably. So you plug your MIDI backing files, which has got grand piano, whatever MIDI device you plug it into gives you grand piano. It's just on a really good keyboard, the grand piano sounds like a grand piano. On this wee comedy thing, it's still the grand piano sound. It doesn't necessarily mean it's a good grand piano sound. The same thing with, like, you know, like the saxophones and stuff. As I said on that Korg I had, the saxophones actually sounded like saxophones, whereas the saxophones on this, even though it would be the same number in your general MIDI bank, the saxophones in this sound sort of... I can see why they called it saxophone. It doesn't really sound... Actually, it sounds like synthesizer, sort of like a saxophone. Yeah, but fun. This wee thing, it was... I think, to be honest, I think there it was maybe 40 quid, like new, and I was looking at it going, that'd be a sort of handy thing. My thinking of it was, I could literally just plug this onto the front of the guitar, you know. I think I paid 20 quid for it. No, it's really that's all it is. It's rechargeable. Actually, it's nice to see the battery's nearly flat in it. It's rechargeable, and you've got 3 presets that you can set your 3 favourite sounds to, and then if you press the big green button, it changes from program. That's 65. That's that. If you can, it's like a jogging wheel, so it goes up to 127. Rings a bell somewhere. So there's 127 different sounds in a general MIDI bank. So you can do that, and if you press the button again, it gives you reverb. You can put reverb on it and pan it left and right. I've not got it wired in stereo. Bass modulation as well, so it's got effects on it. And the volume goes up to 127 as well, and then back to your program. So 127 sounds I was choosing there. You can actually just use this jog wheel and find them. But I was thinking, see if I got a bit of Velcro. That's me. So now basically all I need to do is, all I've got coming out of this is 2 guitar leads. One to go into the guitar amp, one to go into the PA, and that's me fully. I'll probably do it that way actually, so I could read it, and I could have my things set, or I could actually remember which sound it is I want. It's like here, oh, I want strings. That's right. That was the 4th string on the 5th fret. Bang, done. Rather than just me picking away randomly there. So that would give me an entirely encompassed MIDI thing, all on its own, all running in batteries. And all I've got is 2 outputs coming out, one to plug into my guitar amp and one to plug into, give to the sound guy and go, here you go, strings, and then I can mix between them, and I've got a volume for the guitar and a volume for the thingy, and then on the guitar obviously I've got an octave up and down, so I've got like, what do you call it, not C standard, middle C is where it is in the middle, if you play a C note, and then I can go up an octave, down an octave, and I can make it bend. The bendy thing is, it's adjustable how much it bends. I don't know if you noticed there when I was bending up, when I was using the glissando, is it called? No, whatever it is. The not chromatic. So when I was bending up, instead of going, it goes, it bends at a different rate as what the guitar string does. So when you bend the guitar and the whatever instrument you're playing at a different thing, the problem with that is it is adjustable in the back, but it's a different rate for every sound. So if you're playing a harp with the strings and you try and bend it up one, you can set the guitar to do that. That's fine. You can adjust how much it bends in the back of the guitar. The problem is when you go onto the flute, it'll be a different rate, so you'd have to set it. And I just don't bend. I haven't done enough work. It's too option overloading these things. That was why I did an intentional video, and on Sunday night I was doing the live stream just using it as a guitar, because it's a really good guitar in its own right. The MIDI thing's just a bonus thing for me. But if you can find one, it's a possible that there is a possibility of finding one cheap. I did see one in cash converters, but it was 400 quid, and it's like there's no obviously nobody in cash converters knew what it was. So did it work? Well, we don't know. If it definitely worked, 400 quid's a pretty good buy, I think. It was also white, which looks an awful lot better than the black one. But yeah, it's a personal thing. Anyhow, so rocking. This will be just coming up at some point during the Christmas week, so I don't have to do videos every day. I just did 2 today. Catch you all later, and keep your eye open. It's also maybe not so much a cash converters, because a cash converters, the first thing they're going to do is type it in to eBay to see how much they go for. So hence why it was 400 or 500 quid, because they've looked up and gone, oh, there's one for sale, 400 or 500 quid, there we go, bang. Whereas somebody else is going to go, what does this do? I don't know. It's a Casio. Casio are shit, aren't they? They make cheap watches and stuff. So you might pick one up for peanuts. I paid 110 quid for this. The guy fully knew what it was, because he said he used to use it for backing tracks and stuff. He's like, it's a really good Strat though. Like 110 quid for a Strat. This is my first Stratocaster, and it's like £110 buys you a squared on it, and it's like, no, it's yeah. Rock on.